Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So today we'll be doing section 2.2, which is organization and management. Now in this chapter we need to learn about an organizational structure. So what does it mean? It refers to the levels of management and divisions of responsibilities within an organization. Now an organizational chart is basically a pictorial representation of an organizational structure. So in this picture that you see here, this is what we call an organizational chart. So first we have the owner of the company, and then we have our two managers, and then we have all the departments and the employees working under the managers. Alright, so moving on, what is the advantages of an organizational structure? Firstly, all employees are aware of which communication channel is used to reach them with messages. Secondly, everyone knows their position in the business. They know who they are accountable to and who they are accountable for. So if we have a structure that looks like this, so if this is the structure, then this person, by looking at the chart, he would know that he is responsible for these two guys and he is accountable to this owner. It shows the links and the relationships between the different departments. So in this case, we have two departments. This is the first one, this is the second one. We can know about the relationship between these two departments. Okay. Lastly, it gives everyone a sense of belonging as they appear on the organizational chart. So when we talk about an organizational structure, there are two main characteristics that determines how it looks. The first one is the chain of command. Chain of command is the structure of an organization which allows instructions to be passed down from senior management to lower levels of management. Okay, so in this picture, this guy will be passing on the instructions downwards to all the employees. So that is the chain of command. And here we have three levels, okay, because this is the first level, second level, and third level. So the chain of command would be 3 in this case, and here it would be 2 because 1 and 2. So this is the chain of command is 3 here and 2 here. All right. Next we have the span of control. So the span of control, the span of control is the number of subordinates working directly under a manager. So here we have 5 people working directly under this guy. So the span of control would be 5 here, and here it would be 2 because there are only 2 people working directly under this manager, right? So now that we know what both of these mean, there are two types of organizational structures. Firstly, we have structures that have a long chain of command and a narrow span of control, which is this one. And the second type is when we have a short chain of command but a wide span of control, which is this one right here. Okay, the chain of command here in the first one is 3, which means that it's longer, and here it was just 2, which means that the first one's chain of command is longer. And the span of control in the first one was 2 because there are only 2 people who are directly under this manager, and the span of control in this one is 5 because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people working directly under this person. So as you can see here, this one is a long chain of command but a narrow span of control because it's smaller than this number. And in this case, in the second case, we have a short chain of command but a wide span of control. Alright, so what are the advantages of a short chain of command and a wide span of control? So you can refer to this picture here. This is what a short chain of command and a wide span of control looks like. Okay, so what are the advantages? Firstly, communication is quicker and more accurate. Secondly, the top managers are less remote from the lower employees, and hence they are more motivated, and the top managers can always stay in touch with the employees. This means that the top manager or the owner is not very far from the lower levels of management, which means that they can control them better as well. Alright, and lastly, managers have more people to control or to delegate responsibilities. Hence, the subordinates will be more motivated and they will feel trusted. Okay, so the owner can give more tasks to all these 5 people, and hence all of them will feel motivated and they'll feel trusted and part of the organization. Now, what is the disadvantage of a short chain of command or a wide span of control? Firstly, the managers may lose control of what the subordinates are doing because there are so many subordinates. There are 5 subordinates under just one person. So sometimes the owner can lose control of what all 5 of these people are doing. And if something goes wrong, then the whole company's reputation will be affected. Secondly, there will be conflict between departments. And lastly, there's less supervision by managers. So if anything goes wrong, the manager is directly responsible. Alright. Now moving on, we have management and leadership styles. So what is the role of management? Firstly, they delegate tasks. Delegation means that you're giving responsibilities to your subordinates. So if this is a manager and there are 3 employees under this person, then the manager is going to give tasks to all 3 of them, and that is what we call delegation. Next, we have control. This means that the manager or the management is able to have control and be strict on these employees so that they stay within the control of the management. Next, we have command. Command is a very essential characteristic of the management. It's a very essential role of the management because without commanding or ordering decisions or tasks, the whole business will crumble, because obviously the business needs someone who will give orders and give work to the employees, right? So that is command. Next, we have coordinates. So if we have in a business, suppose we have this as one department and there's another department here. So the management should be able to coordinate this department and this department, because otherwise if there's no one to coordinate, then these guys will be separate, right? And they won't work together, and that will cause the business to fail. So for example, if this is the finance department and this is the operations department, suppose the operations department wants to develop a new product, they will obviously have to consult with the finance department to understand how much money or the budget that is available to make this product, because if they don't, then they may exceed the budget and the business will not be able to pay for the raw materials and stuff to make this product. Okay, so that is coordinate. So the next one is organize, and this means that the management is responsible for organizing meetings, events, workshops, trainings, etc., so that the business will be able to come together and work as a team. And lastly, we have plan. Again, this is similar to organizing, planning events, planning meetings, etc. So that is the role of management. Now we have leadership styles. Now in leadership styles, we have 3 types. First is autocratic, democratic, and apologies if I'm saying it wrong, laissez-faire. Alright. So autocratic, what is autocratic? So as you can see in this picture here, this is our manager and he is screaming at all these employees and telling them what to do, and that's exactly what autocratic means. So the manager expects to be in charge of the business and expects to have their orders followed with no questions asked. Okay, so there's one-way communication, which means that the employees can't talk back. It's just a one-way communication channel in autocratic leadership styles. Next, employees lose motivation as they can't give their opinion. So since they are not involved in the decision making, the employees will lose their motivation. An example of autocratic leadership is the army. So obviously the soldiers can't disrespect or disobey the commands of the main officer, right? So the army, police officers, etc., they all follow the autocratic leadership style. Moving on, we have the second one, which is democratic. Now in democratic leadership styles, the manager allows the subordinates to be involved in the decision making process. So in this picture you can see that everyone is working together and the manager is listening to what these guys have to say, and so everyone is involved in the decision making and hence everyone is motivated. Okay, so what are the advantages? Firstly, we have two-way communication. So the employee gains motivation as they can give their opinions. Employees work firsthand with the product, so they know the best about the problems and improvements that can be made. So, for example, if it was a toy factory, right? If it was a toy factory, then obviously the employees are the ones who work closest with the toys. They know what kind of raw materials are used and how you assemble the products, etc. So they can give their opinions based on what they're working with, because the managers are not necessarily going to be working on these toys. They're just in charge of planning and coordinating and stuff. So it's good to have employees who work with the products to give their opinion so that the business can improve its operations. Now the disadvantages is that they can't discuss matters like redundancy with the workers. This means that if the company wants to fire a few people, then obviously they can't be making decisions with the employees, right? Because you're not going to be discussing about firing people with the employees itself. Okay. And the last disadvantage is that the final decision is always made by the manager, so he or she can choose not to listen to the employee's advice. And lastly, we have laissez-faire. So this is when the managers make the broad or general objectives for the employees clear, and then they leave them to make their own decisions. So here, as you can see, this is our manager, and she's just chilling because she's made all the objectives and the values of the business clear, and now the employees will work on their own. They'll make their own decisions and do whatever they want. So the advantages is that the employees are given creative freedom. So this motivates them and gives them a sense of belonging, because the manager is trusting them with their own decisions. So this makes the employees feel like they're being trusted, and it motivates them. Next, it is best for businesses that involve creativity. For example, drama performances, artists, etc. Because theater artists and painters, they always need fresh ideas and inspiration. So it's best to use this type of leadership for those types of businesses. The disadvantage is that the managers can lose control over the employees because they're making their own decisions, and the manager has no power to change these decisions after they have chosen this type of leadership style. And lastly, the quality of goods or services may fall due to no supervision by the manager. So if we take the artists again, if they're given creative freedom and they do something that does not meet the standard of the business, then obviously the reputation of the business will be bad, and the managers will be upset with them because they did not meet the standards. Okay, so the last and final topic for this chapter is trade union. Now, trade unions are a type of pressure groups, and like you can see in this picture here, they are a group of workers who are basically fighting if they are treated unfairly. So like you can see here, they're fighting for their living wages, their work timings, etc., right? So all of these are workers from the same company, and they're fighting so that they're treated fairly once again. The proper definition for a trade union is that it is a group of workers that join together to protect their interests. Be sure to learn this definition because it has come up in exams before. So benefits: improved conditions of employment such as wages, holidays, hours of work, improved work environment, health and safety, heating, noise, and lastly, advice or support if members think they have been unfairly fired, mistreated, etc. So the disadvantages is that it costs money. What this means is that if you are a person who wants to join this trade union, you need to pay money in order to get into this. So you need to pay an entry fee of sorts if you want to get into this trade union. The last disadvantage is that you may be required to take industrial action even if you don't agree with it. What this means is that if you are this person, if you're this guy, and you think that you're being paid enough, you still have to take part in this strike about living wages. Even if you think that you're being paid enough, but the trade union thinks you are not, you still have to take part in this whole strike. So you're forced to take part in industrial action even if you don't agree with it. So that is about trade unions. And that is also the end of this chapter. So thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more and leave a comment if you have any suggestions or doubts for this chapter.